Hello and welcome! Christine E. Schultz here, your favorite Elvish author, and welcome back to another chapter reaction, where I read the first chapters of books out loud to y'all to help you guys discover something new that you want to read, and to help me discover something new that I want to read as well. And today, we are going to be reading and checking out for the first time ever the book Gifted by H.A. Swain. Now, the book Gifted is written by the same author who wrote a book called Hungry, which was a standalone young adult dystopian, which is what I believe that this is as well. And I absolutely just remember loving Hungry. It was kind of a slow build up at the beginning, but it had some pretty solid world building. It had some nice twists to it, especially toward the end. And one thing I really liked about it was that the couple in it, it was just a couple. There was no love triangle. Not to say that there's anything wrong with love triangles. Sometimes love triangles can be very enjoyable, but it's also nice to be able to have a couple who's just a couple. It's refreshing to not always have that aspect of romance. In fact, that's one of the things that I actually enjoy about the Divergent series is that you just have Tris and Four, and you develop and grow their relationship throughout the series, and you don't really usually, you don't ever have that outside factors of having to worry about the whole love triangle thing. And as usual, we're going to start with the blurb to check out what this book's supposed to be all about. And the blurb says, in a world where genius can be purchased, her gift is natural and dangerous. In Orpheus Chanson's world, the human brain has been mapped and patented. Geniuses and prodigies like him are no longer born or honed through hard work. Instead, procedures to induce acquired savant abilities, ASAs, are now purchased and utilized by the most privileged sect of society. Zimri Robinson, a natural musical prodigy, is a lowly plebe, a worker at a warehouse. Her grueling schedule and her grandmother's illness won't keep her from using her gifts, even if making music is illegal. The paths of Orpheus and Zimri were never meant to cross. He is destined for greatness. She is not. But sometimes, rules are meant to be broken. Here's a thriller, love story, and social experiment that readers will find gripping and terrifying. So I'm already into it. It sounds a little bit like Hungry, and that we might have a romance set up throughout this dystopian journey, or maybe not. Maybe they're just going to be really good friends. But either way, I'm all for it. And we have a quote at the beginning that says, "No hypocrisy is too great when economic and financial elites are obliged to defend their interests." Capital in the 21st Century, Thomas Piketty, 2014. And let's see, do we actually have, I'm not even sure why this got here. We don't need a bookmark yet. We haven't started the book. Okay. Oh, I like this. So I'm actually writing a young adult fantasy series right now called the Alien Quartet, where a lot of the magic is musically based. And so, the series is called the Alien Quartet. The first book is Prelude of Fire. The second book, which will be out later this year, is Serenade of Kings. So a lot of musical titles there. And if I do have a prologue in any of those books, I call it my prelude. And so they've kind of set up a similar thing here. We're going to go ahead and start with reading the prologue, but in this case it's called the chorus, and it looks like the chapters are, instead of chapter 1 and chapter 2, it's so on, are called verse 1, verse 2, etc. So I like that. It's got that nice musical quality built in. So yeah, let's jump in and read the chorus, shall we? A dragonfly, perhaps one of the last, darts downriver, searching for another of its kind. Where have the others gone? Has anyone but this dragonfly noticed the species' decline? Or have mechanical drones, the same size and shape with cameras for eyes, obscured their slow disappearance? Bigger drones, the size of birds, lift up from the roofs of warehouses built along the meandering river and fly a predetermined path from the Corp X complex to the city, where they deposit their packages and delivery chutes like babies from storybook storks. Down on the ground, on the path by the river, people slip by, gravel crunching under feet, voices low. None of them will notice the dragonfly, though. The sound vibrations from its iridescent green wings are lost among the willow branches and low hum of delivery drones in the sky. Only a Frozard hears it, readies itself for the hunt, head moving side to side, zeroing in on its prey. The dragonfly drafts higher on a breeze that sends ripples like fish scales across the water down below. All around the dragonfly, electromagnetic waves oscillate at the speed of light. With a transmitter and antenna, anyone could ride these waves, although nowadays everything legit streams in zeros and ones across the digital divide. Analog broadcasts are all but dead, as true radio began to fizzle a long time ago when FM and AM stations blinked out like dying stars. But there are holdouts, old-school rebel-rousers, like DJ Hijacks, who snatches nighttime waves to play old songs, long forgotten, and reminisces in altered voices about the days when music belonged to the people. Tonight, though, no such luck. Hijacks is on the run, setting up another pirate radio station in yet another undisclosed location. And so, only the breeze disrupts the dragonfly's sound. Sound waves bend. The Frozard misjudges, shooting out its tongue into nothingness. The dragonfly continues along the bend in the river, skirting around and over the people who search for a partially hidden path in the dim light of the moon. Corp X workers come in 2s and 3s from the podplexes and warehouses built along the river a half-decade ago. They are quiet. No conversation yet through the black mass on these class 4 criminals. What goes on out here, a mere half-mile from the complex, is risky and must stay hidden. Quietly, they slip over a crest of matted grass and down a steep embankment, like squeamonks scurrying into hidey holes, hoping to be safe and undetected for the night. They find the door, built into the side of the earth with a "Welcome to Nowhere" sign, that leads into a dank room carved out from the riverbank. Inside, anticipation crackles like heat lightning on a humid night. There's a wooden box at the end of the bar, 2 boards across old sawhorses. In the back, there's a makeshift stage, wooden pallets dragged from the dump. Behind a large swath of discarded canvas with a faded, defunct logo, a swish turned upside down so it looks like a cresting wave. Everyone here knows what to do. Drop cash in the box, no coin accepted. Pick up a cup of local juice, distilled from wild potatoes and dandelion greens gathered by the river, and wait. When the curtain flips, the crowd inhales and shifts, vying to get a better look. But it's not time yet, so the canvas stays closed. "How's it look out there?" Zimri asks. "Full, I think," says Dorian. Zimri's stomach tightens. She pats her pocket for the digital audio recorder and straightens the cord running into a tiny mic on her lapel. She'll capture the whole show and release it later on the waves. Then she palms a little sphere with a non-blinking eye that she uncovered in the old mess of outdated gear her mother left behind when she took off 5 years ago. "What's that?" Dorian asks. "Might be a video camera," she says. "It connects to this." She points to an ancient laptop where she has preloaded all the backing tracks for tonight's show. She plays every instrument, the crappy old electric guitar and bass her mother left, a synthesizer with missing keys, and a Zimri do she made herself from scavenged PVC pipes and oil pans, funnels and air tubes, strings and stoppers, part drum, part fiddle, part accordion, a one-person band strapped over her shoulders. "Thought it might be fun to see what we look like up here." "Just as long as you don't broadcast live," Dorian says with a nervous chuckle. "Nah," says Zim. "Wouldn't know how if I tried." Outside, a mere quarter-mile away, Nonda searches for Zimri. She knows the place is around there somewhere, near the elbow in the river where the watercress is thick and raspberries sometimes still grow in summer. But the walk takes longer than she remembers. Her legs are tired and slow, not like when she was young. She listens carefully for the music, but her hearing has grown dim. Too many years in the warehouse, metal on metal on metal, bouncing around the vast space under one roof like where the whole town used to be. Cacophony, that's the word. Sounds like what it means. Still, she hears music in her head. Symphonies and jazz, the old stuff, way before her time, and she's 75. She passed her love of old music down to Rainey, who liked to listen from the start. A tiny baby soothed by Haydn sonatas, Coltrane riffs, and Sarah Vaughan lullabies. Nonda filled her head with the stuff. Maybe that was the problem. Why Rainey couldn't stop. And now, Nonda suspects Zimri is making music too. Girl has it in her just like her mother, despite Nonda's best efforts to keep it tamped down. Shushed her when she hummed, took her spoon away when she banged it in a rhythm, smacked her mouth when she matched the notes on the tram, the dominant 7th chord of the horn, the dissonance of the squeaking brakes. The girl has it bad. Music is inside her, and Nonda always knew it would eventually find a way out. She'd recognize that girl's voice anywhere. It's pure and sweet like Raimi's was. A 2-octave range with a little smoke around the edges. Nonda might be old, but she's not dumb. She built herself a receiver years before Tati started selling them in her old town shop, though she never expected to hear Zimri coming through it. Child's just like her mother, which is why Nonda must keep searching along the riverbank with her ears perked up like a frozer listening for a dragonfly to pass by. For every plebe worker out at nowhere, there are 20 up on the strip because what else is there to do after a 12-hour warehouse shift? Personal occupancy domiciles are small, each pod only 200 square feet, with retractable furniture and one screen per family unit. But at the strip, warehouse workers zap coin from their handhelds and step inside what used to be a grocery store, a bookshop, a bank, and a restaurant way back when Nonda was a kid. Individual shops have gone the way of critters that used to inhabit the riverbank. Who needs them all when you can squish them up together? A single super space for all your entertainment needs. Here, the bar is large, expansive, taking up an entire wall. No cash, no mass needed. It's on the up and up. With frothy near beers and steaming bowls of grubworm meal noodles in hand, plebes flock to the 3 stories tall, 1 block wide screen showing perfectly legal digital entertainment. So far, the buzz on screen is filled with images of the richest and most beautiful plutes posing for endless pics at Tony events in the city district, gallery openings, movie premieres, hottest ticket restaurant seatings. What more could plebe viewers want? Those who've made it on the buzz must be worth watching, right? Otherwise, you're a has-been, or never was, and not worth anybody's time. Like Libaloo, the last self-made superstar of pop, curled up beneath her duvet in a pony apartment on the outskirts of the city, dreaming of the days when she ruled the waves. Then the scene on the screen switches. There's a live stream tonight from Chanson Industries Arena. Cameras focus in on the crowd mingling at the arena while waiting for the celeb singer Geoff Joffrey to take the stage. He waits behind a curtain of finest blue silk. Melodies buzz like gnats inside his brain, so many he can't capture them all. Sometimes his head aches with so much music. He's a lucky one, though. Kept himself relevant for years. The Chanson promo team gets half the credit. They've updated his look every 3 months, leaked pre-plotted stories of romantic ties to up-and-coming talent, pulled favors, and made enemies to keep him in the buzz. But he's getting tired, wearing down. He's already 22 years old, 5 years past his acquired savant ability surgery that rewired his brain for musical genius. No doubt, the ASA has paid off and set him up for life, but sometimes he dreams that he is running from a swarm of locusts, each one singing its own melody so the sound becomes overwhelming. He watches himself trip and fall and curl into a ball, knees to elbows, head covered in a feeble attempt to protect himself from 10,000 tiny sharp jaws. It's time, his handler tells him. He nods and moves, moth-like toward the lights as the curtains swish open. Plutes in the arena get to their feet, while plebes at the strip sway and lift their cups when Geoff Joffrey takes the stage. On the riverbank, Nonda slips and falls against a tree, exhausted and confused about why she's out here. Was she picking greens for Rainy? A dragonfly momentarily alights on her arm. She says hello and blows on it. It lifts up to join the breeze that carries the faint vibrations of drums that Nonda feels beneath her sternum but can no longer hear. The dragonfly follows those vibrations out past nowhere, where inside a masked drummer has jogged on stage, smacking his sticks overhead. Hearts surge as he crashes a beat on a rickety kit, bass drum, hi-hat, snare. The hypnotic rhythm hits the masked plebes in their chests and deep down in their guts as they begin to move like the beat has overtaken them. They stomp their feet, yell, whistle through their teeth, and lift their arms overhead, clapping hands together in unison. Fish mouths in the river begging to be fed. Zimri takes one last look from behind the curtain, then she shouts, "Now!" and hits record on her devices. Electromagnetic waves carrying ones and zeros crash together, like drones and dragonflies colliding. It's the waves that killed the dragonflies, disrupted their chemical signals, messed with the frogs and lizards too, squirrels and chipmunks, coyotes and wolves, pushed and pressed together, competing for shrinking space. Unnatural unions are now the norm. From out here, puny nowhere on no map, Zimri Robinson will not be denied her place, though. Without music, her world is askew. She has to tilt herself to fit in. Melody and rhythm set things straight. When she's on stage, she's no longer that weird girl singing to herself, an oddball chirping to the birds and humming with the trees, the one with the uncanny talent for navigating warehouse shelves to the rhythm of a countdown nobody else can hear. When Zimri steps through the curtain at nowhere, she's her one true self. She's the music, and music is meant to be shared. with the people who've assumed the risk of coming to nowhere tonight, and later those who can scan the waves on black market receivers for what Zimri will release like a dandelion spreading its seeds. Just as Geoff Joffrey starts Your Eyes, his newest song, and biggest hit yet, the promo team has assured Mr. Chanson, the giant screen at the strip flickers. Then Geoff Joffrey disappears. The plebes stop, stare, and wonder what's happening, when in his place, a black masked face fills the screen, and a different crowd roars. Back at nowhere, Zimri leans into her camera and shouts, "We are nobody from nowhere, and this is our song!" And that is the end of the chorus to Gifted. Let's see here. What do I think so far? Well, I'm already intrigued. I feel like we've already set up some interesting world building, even just in the prologue, or the chorus, as you will. You've got the plebes, who seem to be the much lower class. You've got the plutes, that seem to be the higher ranking class. You've got the concept of the acquired savant ability surgery. So I guess you can rewire your brain to obtain different kinds of geniuses. In this case, Geoff Joffrey, who's obtained musical genius, but Zimri seems to be born with a natural musical genius, which is either not allowed or else perhaps not allowed for the poorer class. You've got Nonda, which is the grandmother. It sounds like Rainey, her daughter, which would be Zimri's mother, also had a tendency toward musical genius. So yeah, I really just like how some of the world building has been set up already, and I'm interested to learn more. And it sounds like in verse 1, we get a taste for Orpheus's character, he being the other main character. So yeah, I'm excited to jump in more with this. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of this video, what you thought of this initial reading from Gifted. Is it something that you'd be interested in reading more of? If you have read it, or if you've read any book by H.A. Swain, let me know down in the comments what you think of her and her writing. If you're going to contain spoilers, please let readers know that in advance in your comments so that the book's not spoiled for them in case they want to go on to read it. But yeah, and don't forget to like and subscribe and share with all of your reader friends, especially your young adult fantasy reader friends. But obviously we're going to read some dystopian and a few other things as well on my channel, and hopefully introduce you to some really cool new books. And if nothing else, if you've already read some of these books, maybe start a discussion about them. On that note, happy reading, may you be inspired, and I will see you in my next video.